Minecraft is a game all about exploration and discovery. Sure, there's an end goal, but for most players, that's not where their story ends, and I think RT Game's recent Minecraft playthrough really explains this. He kills the Ender Dragon at the end of episode 1, and then spends the rest of the series completing self-set goals, discovering all of the new updates he's missed over the years, truly making the world his own. I highly recommend you go watch it. It's beautiful in a way, and I believe it truly encapsulates what Minecraft is all about. So now imagine you didn't have any of that, and you wanted your story to be dictated by someone on the internet. Enter Minecraft Adventure Maps, a seemingly dying art form. In the early days of both Minecraft and YouTube, these were a dime a dozen. You had the classics like Herobrine's Mansion, Diversity, The Dropper. You've got the Adventure Time map, horror maps like Amnesia, survival maps like Skygrid. I could go on and on. But with that said, where's all the new maps? Well, there's only one way to find out, sorting by new on Planet Minecraft. Join me as I travel through maps old and new and attempt to answer the question, what happened to adventure maps? Diversity is a unique take on the CTM genre. As usual, you have to complete the monument by collecting the colored wool. However, in Diversity, each wool is obtained by completing a different Minecraft map genre. Can you tell that's the official description? I sound like I'm giving a middle school PowerPoint presentation. Basically, play the modes, get the wool at the end, collect all the wool to beat the map. Simple. For the sake of my time and also the video's length, I'll only be playing a couple of the modes. When I first load in, I go to the options to fix a few settings and immediately disregard everything else I was doing because I remember that super secret settings used to be a thing. So I play with that for a minute or two before remembering that I have to make a video. And so with that out of the way, we head on to the first trial, Puzzle. The first puzzle isn't anything too difficult. You put each music disc in the jukebox, which will light up a redstone lamp if it's correct, and then you remember the order and punch in the code based on the disc colors. The next room has buttons, which control lights and hoppers that are behind a water stream. The goal is to get the lever from the left to the right in order to progress. I spent about 10 minutes here trying every single possible combination before realizing that I just have to make sure the lights were lit up when the lever was going over them. After realizing that, it was only a matter of getting the timing right and moving on to the next room. For this room, all you have to do is look inside the chest, read the name of the disc, and then put the corresponding carpet color inside. And in the next room, all I had to do was put the carpet down on the soul soil. I'm not really sure if I did this one right, I'll be honest. Next, I had to contain some sheep in these pens. Then I had to figure out which sky color went with which block, which is extremely easy when you have F3. Next up was an invisible maze, which I didn't really understand, but that's nothing brute force can't fix. The next room had two doors, one that said life and the other said death. And if you turn around, you see a clue, which you had to use to figure out which door to go through. For example, after equals afterlife, metal equals death metal, etc. For the final puzzle, there's a long line of doors and levers, and each part has a riddle you have to solve in order to move to the next part. After completing all of the riddles, you go to one of those sliding puzzles, where you have to remember the combination of buttons from room 1. And this took forever, but after completing it, I was finally done with the puzzle branch. Next up, we have the adventure branch, because we can't do an adventure map without completing an adventure. I jump in and I'm instantly greeted with some classic storytelling. Player heads on blocks with signs, doesn't get much better than this. I've been told by the townsfolk that the king is waiting for me in his throne room. Apparently there's some prophecy about me getting the orange wool. Seems real enough. First though, I had to kill the zombie king and bring his head back to Steve. I try to give him one of the guards' heads, but he doesn't buy it. So I gear up and set out to find this evil king. On my journey, I travel through a forest filled with only shadow and a completely unstable bridge before finally arriving at the zombie king's doorstep. When I talk to him, however, he tells me that actually King Steve is the evil one, using the wool's power for nefarious deeds, but he tells me that if I bring him King Steve's head, then he'll give me a passage right to the orange wool. Seems legit, so I run back to the castle of King Steve and rip off his head to, like, no reaction from the guards, which is weird. Anyways, I bring the head back to the zombie king, who thanks me for my efforts and shows me towards the secret passage. I make my way through the secret passageway, and I end up at the Temple of the Orange Wool, which presents me with 3 impassable trials, an unbreakable wall, unending flames, and a really tall ladder. Using all of my might and courage, I narrowly complete the trials, and am rewarded with the sacred orange wool. Needing a little bit of a break, I headed over to trivia for a nice smooth experience, and I got every single question correct, and definitely didn't die multiple times because half of the questions have to do with things from over a decade ago. Finally, I ended my diversity session with a bit of parkour, which only took me a couple minutes because you know me. I created the parkour guy, who I still haven't found, so you bet I know a thing or two about parkour. Let's just speed it up a bit. Alright, let's just speed it up a bit more. Just come on. Just hurry, dude. You're better than this, dude. There you go. Simple as ever. Overall, I think diversity still holds up as a map over a decade later. And with that said, let's move on to our next. Did you guys know that Hypixel made Herobrine's Mansion? Like, the Simon Hypixel from Hypixel. Anyways, Herobrine's Mansion is an adventure map where you're trying to stop Herobrine from summoning a Wither, which I'm very sure we'll be able to get to do. First things first, I killed the tutorial boss and used the music disc it dropped, which didn't do anything. I checked the redstone in creative mode and noticed that it wasn't directly connected to the jukebox, so I connected it and tried again with no success. Then I thought I might have to wait until the song was over, so I waited. So, you come here often? No? You know, sitting here has made me realize that I haven't actually listened to all of Ward. It's a pretty nice song. Oh, it's done. Nope. Nope. Alright, let's just, yeah, that'll work. I entered the map, grabbed a sword, and made my way to the one and only Herobrine's Mansion. And would you just look at that build? You don't see that kind of quality nowadays. Or maybe we do. I haven't played the current day maps yet. Anyways, along the way I stumbled upon a humble merchant named Victor, whose house was being swarmed by zombies. I cleared the door and grabbed my reward, then set out again. Along the path, I found a graveyard, and upon speaking the words out loud, I realized I was standing before the crypt of the Skeleton King. So I cleared the remaining foes and ventured deeper into the structure. Inside, I was met with undead minion after undead minion, alongside treacherous and impossible puzzles. I was able to make it through only by the skin of my teeth, and was finally face to skull with the Skeleton King himself. His bow had knockback on it, and that alongside summoning minions to aid him made for a tough fight. Luckily, I was able to defeat him and claim victory over the undead. And then I messed up. See, the jukebox thing didn't work here either, so I went into creative mode to fix it, not realizing that it would dispense items for me as a reward. My full inventory made it so that most of the items got deleted, alongside from a bow and a few nuggets of gold. The room adjacent to the jukebox had a nether portal with some fences blocking it. I assumed that I was meant to get a pickaxe to break through these barriers, so I broke it by hand and entered the portal, only to realize I had freshly generated another area, meaning I probably wasn't supposed to be here. I went back through the portal and arrived on a balcony on Herobrine's Mansion, meaning I probably skipped a bunch of stuff. And apparently the game didn't like that, so it crashed my game and made it so that now I can't open the world anymore. 9 out of 10. Good map. I shouldn't have to explain the dropper to you. It's a map so famous that it's a staple in most popular parkour maps. Basically, it's a map where you drop, and then you win. Simple. And as I follow the background, I'd like to bring your attention to the button. You know the one I'm talking about. You know it needs pressed. I can wait as long as I need to. Actually, I've done enough waiting in this video, but let's move on. Being a Minecraft pro myself, I was able to quickly finish this map in record time with no fails. Just ignore this. Ooh, it's the level that everyone uses as clickbait. Maybe I'll use it too. God damn it, this, and this. For being a shorter map, it's full of life and character and amazing builds. It still holds up after almost 12 years. Anyways, let's finally move on to our... Starting off our modern day expedition is the Anomaly Part 1. In this map, we play as a retired professor, being called in to help contain, drumroll please, an anomaly. The map starts with us waking up and being called to the lab by a scientist named Philip. We head out onto the streets on our way to the lab, but is that the Ox Cat? We enter the lab and Philip shows us towards the anomaly. He shows us that water makes it do some weird stuff and wants us to brew up something stronger to test out the effects. So we go around the lab grabbing some ingredients to make a splash potion of strength. We throw it onto the anomaly, and it teleports the lab residents back in time to the 1700s. Philip tells us that he can create a makeshift time machine if we fetch some materials, so we go around town and rob these poor innocent people. First, taking some scrap from a blacksmith, then breaking down the door to a home for some wire, then lockpicking into an armory for some gunpowder, and finally taking the armorer's life savings and spending them on a magic rock. Philip takes all of our legitimately acquired goods and uses them to forge a time machine, which only sends us further back in time to 2024 BC. We then go around this lovely little settlement, completing tasks for the village folk, like gathering dye and tools, in order to get back parts of our time machine. After completing all of the tasks, we start to repair the machine with a redstone puzzle that took me way too much time. After that was finished, we had to go on top of this copper idol and get struck by lightning, sending us way into the future. The lightning strike damaged us pretty badly, so we carefully make our way across the streets and rooftops in order to find a laboratory. Is that Spider-Man? We find a laboratory and discover that it's owned by our grandson, who tells us that our time machine sucks, but he can make it better with some materials. So he sends us to the store with his credit card to buy the thing he needs. We return and he makes the new time machine, but right as we're about to go use it, a time cop appears and he tells us that we're under arrest for breaking the timeline or something. Regardless, we gotta get the hell out of there. So we head down to our grandson's actual maze of a basement before finally powering the time machine and ending the map. This was a really good map, and I'm excited to see what happens to the next part whenever it releases. Moving on, we have This map has its own installer. This Minecraft adventure map has its own install. We start out the map inside of a cryo chamber. I break out and start to explore the area, making some tools, grabbing some loot, and eventually breaking out of the structure and onto the surface. This is not a Minecraft adventure map. This is a whole RPG that happens to be made inside of Minecraft. Drehmal is genuinely one of the most impressive Minecraft projects I've ever seen. The sheer quantity of content that this 12,000 by 12,000 world has is insane. It's loaded with custom items, a complete backstory, a full custom soundtrack, and so much more. In my time playing, I only scratched the surface of what it could contain. On my way to a local village, I discovered what looked to be a large tower. I climbed it and pressed a button that was on it, only to be teleported to a completely different area. I looked around and eventually booted up a computer that was asleep. It told me that I had to head on over to another area, so I went back and started my search, completely forgetting about the village I was headed towards. After some travels, I made my way to what appears to be a lost city, with what looked like an observatory and also the Golden Gate Bridge. Nice. I made my way towards the observatory looking structure and fought my way through pillagers and vindicators to get inside. Once I was there, I used the terminal that my compass was pointing to, which revealed some more lore. After that, I just kinda chose a direction to wander in until I stumbled upon another pillager camp. I took them all out and kept wandering, eventually deciding to take a rest at a savanna rock, enjoying the sunset as I exited the world. This will definitely be a world I return to in my free time. I'll leave a link in the description to this map alongside all the others for you to check out. I highly recommend all of them. And with that said, let's move on to our Moving on over to Bedrock Edition, we have the 15-year anniversary map made for Minecraft. Happy birthday, Minecraft! Hey look, it's me! The map is like a museum of Minecraft history, with each exhibit representing a different aspect of Minecraft. Alongside that, there's stickers to collect and games to play, really making it a grand old time. First up, we have the aquarium, which shows off all the water-related features Minecraft's had over its 15 years of updates, like the conduit, elder guardian, and the frogs. Next, we've got the exploration area, which covers a vast array of biomes, including the desert, jungle, ice spikes, cherry grove, and mushroom islands, which have a minigame that I hate so much. Before we continue to the next part, I went to the gift shop and got a couple of pets. I named them Beevil and Meevil, and they are everything to me. Next up, we have caves and cliffs, my personal favorite aspect of Minecraft because of this big guy right here. Look at him, isn't he just a cutie? This exhibit also has parkour. It's like it was made for me. Up next, we have a big garden with plants, trees, water features, a maze, and bees. Lots of bees. Next, we have an exhibit dedicated to alternate dimensions, including the nether and its biomes, and the end with some Elytra fun. And chorus fruit, it's me, again! Finally, we have an exhibit dedicated to Minecraft's alpha stages. Man, this brings me back. Even though I was only like 3 when this released, it still holds a, did you see that? Whatever. This version still holds a special, I think I'm seeing things. I gotta get out of here. Overall, I'm really surprised with how well this map was made. Orville Studios did a fantastic job celebrating this fantastic game. But now, let's move back to the question at hand. What? In my research, I've noticed that there's only been an increase in map quality. With the new features and tools that map makers are given, maps have only gotten better. And with 1.21's multitude of features, there's only going to be more improvement. So that begs the question, what happened to adventure maps? Nothing. What happened to YouTube? Everything. I mentioned at the start of the video that the link with adventure maps on YouTube was a prevalent thing years ago, but that's just the thing. Years ago, people simply stopped watching adventure map videos. The current thing is hardcore videos and SMP content. Don't get me wrong, I love a good content SMP video. Rat, this is my application, please let me on. I'm just saying the fact that adventure maps aren't the trend anymore. But then again, who knows what the future holds? Thanks for watching. But it's always a surprise.